No one imagines that they're going to get married and then one day end up being miserable. We have this image that marriage will be easy, exciting, and pure romantic bliss. We find that special person, we fall in love, we get married in hopes of a lifelong love and happiness. Then we find out marriage is hard and it takes a lot of work. We realize that it's not always easy, exciting, and pure romantic bliss.
A recent USA Today study from September the 5th, 2024, states that 41% of first time marriages in the USA end in divorce. 41% first time marriages. And then 60% of second time marriages end in divorce. You know, and then 73% of third marriages end in divorce. This is something that Ron Deal talks about because once you get in that cycle of divorce, that's why I like the Ron Deal Ministries. And we need to do a blended family soon. But this is off script. But the reason why the percentages are up, the more times you get married and divorced, the easier it is to get divorced. So that's like Ron Deal and Blended Life, Blended. Their goal is to end the cycle of divorce. Christians are not exempt from these numbers. Although the percentages of divorce among Christians are lower, I think they're like first time maybe like 40%, 30%. Christians are still among those statistics of people getting divorced, marriages getting divorced in the USA. Why is this? What causes marriages to fail? We're going to talk about that, so stay tuned. Okay, we are going to go back and just kind of rehash some of the shows we did. And I just got a few ideas from some of our early shows and just kind of put them together. And we're going to make this a fun show. It's going to be just some easy information for you. Nothing serious, but nothing um, small. This is going to be good information that's going to help you. The title of our episode is The Perfect Marriage. Does that exist?
Mhm.
But there's no perfect marriage, but that doesn't mean that you can't strive to have the best marriage you can have. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Um, so, and like I said in our little intro, we're going to try to get back to doing some blended family shows. And I think after this show, we're going to take a break and we're trying to go every weekend. So we're going to take next weekend off so we can prepare a blended family show. I'm going to get my Ron Deal books out, my family life blended, and start researching. And we're going to do a good blended family episode. Um, so I'm Joey.
I'm Lori.
We are Christ Centered Marriage and Family. We have a good show for you today. So Lori, get us started.
Last year, May 2024, we went to our first Christian marriage conference, and we realized we had some things to work on in our marriage. One of the things we realized was marriage is hard. Sometimes we, as husbands and wives, make marriage harder than it should be. We learned some things we needed to work on. Today, we made a list of things we think are important for marriages to thrive, not just to survive, but to thrive. There is no perfect marriage, and if you are in a marriage that is anything but perfect, maybe you are struggling and want to make your marriage better, we have some tips for you.
Yep. So we gave it away. And we titled this episode "The Perfect Marriage." There is no perfect marriage, but that don't mean that's an excuse. Just cause there's no perfect marriage, that don't mean that's an excuse to let your marriage fail. It's up to you as a husband and wife to make sure your marriage doesn't fail. And when you start struggling in your marriage, that's when it's time to take action. So we're going to tell you some things that you can do to take action. First thing of importance is the foundation. Foundation in marriage. And I'm going to tell you, for my previous marriage, I didn't have the right foundation. And I don't know about her. Uh, she'll probably agree
Mm-hmm.
that her first marriage probably wasn't built on the right foundation.
No.
Have to make sure you have the right foundation. And that foundation is Jesus Christ. And we like to say Christian marriage or biblical marriage, but marriage is a God ordained institution. That it's kind of like a redundant say Christian marriage because marriage is a God ordained thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is biblical. It is Christian. Anybody else? And I'm not trying to be controversial, but marriage is a Christian institution. And I'm going to read something here that I'm going to use a parallel here for a foundation. Matthew chapter 7. Jesus says on the Sermon on the Mount, Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house upon the rock. And the rain fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and slammed against that house, and yet it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who builds his house on the sand. And when the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew and slammed against that house, it fell, and great was the fall. So, just like our faith in Jesus Christ, our faith must be founded on Jesus Christ. If you say you're a Christian, if you say you believe in Jesus, if you are aspiring to living the Christian life, your faith must be grounded on Jesus Christ, the hard rock foundation of Jesus Christ. And I like that parallel. I'm going to use that as in marriage too. Marriage cannot survive if Jesus Christ isn't the head of the marriage. Your marriage is not built upon a solid foundation, just like the Christian faith. Your marriage has got to be built on a solid foundation. It's going to fail. If that marriage is built on a solid foundation, like I believe ours is, and we have put our marriage to the test, we have went through some storms and some rains and some heavy winds of
Going through
life.
some right now.
Going through some right now. It's just just a
It's just
normal
life.
car
Living in this
problems
world.
and
Yep.
yep, financial stuff, but the storms of life. And we have a good foundation. So we're able to withstand the storms of life because we have a solid foundation. So this is something that should begin before you get married. Before you even say I do, before you even say, hey, let's plan on getting married. But before we plan on getting married, let's make sure this is right. Let's make sure we are doing the right thing. And I suggest you do some premarital counseling, preferably with a pastor that's qualified to do that, or somebody else. And maybe your church has a marriage ministry. Uh, get some qualified biblical Christian counseling. Listen to your parents. Ask your parents. If your parents say, hey, I don't think you need to marry this man. I don't think you need to marry this woman or young girl, young man. Listen to them. And you might say, well, I don't care what they say. We're in love and we're getting married. Listen to your parents. Ask them why. Why do you not approve of this? Listen to them. They may see something that you don't see because you're too young or you're caught up in the moment. You just can't see it. Um, so you say, well, we're past that. We're past that. We've been married 2, 3, 4, 20 years. We're past that. And sometimes I wonder, well, we have a good foundation. Is there hope for us? Yes, there is hope for you. You can still get counseling, or you can do like we did. We went to a marriage retreat. We went to Weekend to Remember twice. And like she said, the first time we went was May last year, 2024. And we didn't think, boy, man, our marriage it's about over. We didn't think that, but we thought, you know what? There were some people there, their marriages were almost over. But we have some things we need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad we went to this marriage conference. Now we can make our marriage stronger. We can improve our foundation. We had a few cracks in our foundation, but we worked on it and we made it stronger. So we recommend you going to a marriage retreat or marriage conference like the Weekend to Remember. And I think who is it? Focus on the Family is a good Christian institution. It used to be run by James Dobson. I don't know who it's run by now, but they have some good events for you too. Uh, be determined to work on your foundation and make it stronger. Okay, Lori, next topic.
Studies show that most marriage problems occur due to communication issues. Learning how to communicate with your spouse will greatly change most of the issues in your marriage. Many marriages struggle with communication, especially those who have been married for many years. As time goes by, husbands and wives can slowly drift apart, and communication slowly starts to diminish. You might think that fixing the communication problem in your marriage is impossible, and you don't know where to start. I suggest a good place to start is learning how to listen. When your spouse realizes you are listening, it will be easier for him or her to communicate with you. Learn how to talk about big things and the small things. Start each day with warm, affectionate greetings. Send each other messages throughout the day. Ask each other how they are doing. Sit down together and just talk. Make time to have intentional conversations. Learn how to enjoy talking to each other, just like you did when you first started dating.
And this episode is kind of touching a lot of different topics. We've had a couple episodes where we focus specifically on communication. And the key here is to have intentional. That's the key, intentional.
And more than surface level.
Yeah, that's right. More than service level. That's exactly what I was thinking. Just because, oh, hey, how you doing? Okay, all right, okay.
I mean, you gotta have the surface level conversations, but
Yeah.
you have to try to be intentional about going deeper into
Mhm.
into
Getting
other.
to the feelings and the emotions and what she's thinking or what I'm thinking. Be in tune with each other. Okay, next, part of that communication involves trust, respect, and honesty. Learn how to be open and honest with your partner. Maybe you need to confess something to your spouse, and maybe you need to forgive something to your spouse. And that's also true about before you get married. Be open about things. There's something air everything out. Don't be married for 4 or 5 years and then you say, "Oh, hey, I got a surprise for you. You
Mhm.
didn't know this." Um, Husband and wife can't keep secrets from each other, small things or big things. Be honest with each other. Don't have secret friends. I think that's self-explanatory, isn't it?
Mhm.
Don't have secret addictions, secret spending habits. That's the set. Secret spending habits that can really kill marriages. You know, not being in control of your finances. It's not that I don't control everything she does. Um, but we don't have any secret spending habits. If she wants to spend some money, she'll run it by me, and then I'll say, yeah, sure. Or I'll say, you know what? Wait, give me some time. Let's let a couple paydays go through, but no, she doesn't say, "Oh, I'm just going to buy something. I don't care what."
He never says no,
Yep. She doesn't just
but I
buy
don't
things.
ask anything too crazy.
Yeah. But you don't go out and just buy things and not tell me about it for 6 months
No,
later.
but like, I might say, "Hey, I want to get these shoes or whatever," and he'll say, "Yeah, go get it. You can get them," or he might say, "Wait till Friday," or "Let me move some money," or whatever. But
I don't
we
get
talk
these.
about it.
I don't get these bills in the mail. I'm thinking, what's a bill? What is all this? Don't have secret spending habits. Secret interests. Um, Secret online activities. You know, we all like our phones. We all like the social media and the internet, and we're doing YouTube. So I'm gonna spend some time, trying to get this YouTube video going and working on our channel. And I got a Bible study channel, but she knows what I'm doing. I know what she's doing. I'm not doing anything that she has to worry about. She's not doing anything that I have to worry
No.
about. But in some marriages, some relationships, that's the case. Don't do that. Um, you don't have to continually tell your spouse what you're doing, but you shouldn't be doing something that you don't want your spouse to know. Secrets. Don't have secrets. A marriage cannot survive if there is not mutual trust and respect. Paul writes in Colossians 3:19. I'll read that real quick. And this is kind of a segue here. I'm kind of transitioning, but it's in the whole line of trust and respect. He says, "Husbands, love your wives and do not be embittered against them." You know, as a husband, I shouldn't be angry or resentful or bitter toward my wife. Um, Paul also writes in Ephesians 5:33, and I got that marked too. I'm going to read that too. He says, each individual, each husband among you is to love his own wife, even as himself. And the wife must see to it that she respects her husband. So husbands shouldn't be angry, bitter, or harsh toward their wives. Wives can't be nagging or resentful toward their husbands. That's in the whole trust. That's part of the trust and respect thing.
Hmm.
You know, I can't respect her if I'm always angry and bitter towards her. And and there's trust, and she's always nagging at me. There's a breakdown in trust and respect right there.
Hmm.
So um, the marriage relationship is one on trust and respect and honesty. You have anything to add to that?
I don't think so. I think we've also talked about not disparaging your spouses in public or with other people,
Yeah,
whether it's on social
yeah.
media or just in a group of friends or whatever. You don't. How can you believe what my husband? Let me tell you what my husband did. He did this or that, and just insulting them or talking bad about them. And I think that's a trust issue too. If you can't trust your spouse to, talk about you in a positive light in front of other people.
Don't you think that when you see other spouses together and see the way they interact with each other, and you go,
Mm,
do we do that? I hope we don't do that.
no,
And it makes you, I'm not saying you should compare yourself to others, but you make you think, it's kind of like a
it's kind of a
reflection,
self check.
self check. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't act like that, do I? Do
Yeah.
I act like that? Okay, let's don't act like that. And some people, and I want others to say, look at them Rose, look at Joey and Lori. I like the way they, and every once in a while they'll say, I like the way y'all act around each other. Well, good. I'm
Hmm.
glad that you see us in a positive light. I want everybody to see us in a positive light. And that's where that trust and respect is built in, is expressed. Others see the trust and respect that we have toward each other. Okay, Lori, next topic.
Marriage involves self sacrificing of the husband and wife. You must think of your spouse before yourself. I know what you may be thinking. Getting married so you can sacrifice yourself for someone else doesn't sound very appealing. That's all a part of oneness concept in marriage. That's something we learned about in our marriage conference.
Right.
Oneness. The wife sacrifices for the needs of the husband, and the husband sacrifices for the needs of the wife. From small sacrifices to big sacrifices, selflessness in marriage is expressions of love toward each other. Marriage is struggle when the opposite is true. Marriage is struggle when husbands and wives think more of themselves and their own needs than the needs of their spouse. Marriages can't be one sided. Some like to say it involves give and take. It is really give and give.
Give and give. Yep.
And that's one thing we like to talk about is don't have 1,000 hobbies. I have one night a week where I go bowl with my sister and some friends, and that's it. That's my one thing I do for myself. The husband gives to the wife, and the wife gives to the husband. So how is that put into action? One person shouldn't have to carry all the responsibilities. Husbands and wives can share equality in the responsibilities in marriage. Also, husbands and wives shouldn't let extracurricular activities get in the way of the marriage relationship. If extracurricular activities are getting in the way of the marriage relationship, sacrifices need to be made. Part of giving to each other means being willing to give up most are things that make the sacrifices in order to give to each other. So, like the bowling thing, that's just one day a week. That's not something, if I did that 4 or 5 days a week. I know people that I bowl with on Monday nights that are at the bowling alley probably 3 or 4 days a week bowling. I don't know how they afford that for one thing, but that's just a lot of time spent away from home. Maybe they're single and they don't have a family, but you know, you wouldn't like that if I was up at the bowling alley 3 or 4 nights a week.
Yeah. And look, I've heard that there's some marriages where the wife will say, I don't care what he does. I know he ain't cheating on me, but I'm taken care of, and I have a lot of nice stuff. I've got things I want, big fancy car, big fancy house, and whatever. So if he wants to be gone 3 or 4 nights a week, I don't care. I don't understand that. I really don't. That's not really good for your marriage. I don't think.
Mm-mm.
I don't see how that works. Anyway, okay. Finally, this will be it. This is gonna be a short episode. A husband and wife should learn to enjoy each other. I think this is the most important thing because I think a lot of marriages, even marriages that on the surface are good, but deep down inside, there's something wrong. And I think that problem is marriages kind of drift apart. You lose interest in each other, and you think that well, it's just the way it is in marriage. We just kind of go our own way and do our own thing. And we're just married. We know the joy's gone. Boy, you remember what it was like when we were first married, first 4 or 5 years. Well, it can be like that. Keep it like that. Enjoy each other. Spend quality time together. Go on dates. If you got kids, you know, find babysitters. You know what? I think, and she's probably thinking the same things. We're about a year away from. Well, we're practically doing things on our own now. Like
Mm-hmm.
the youngest kid is working, and he's a senior, so we don't really do much with him anymore. Sometimes I think, you
We
know what?
try to.
We do. Sometimes I think, you know what? Maybe 12, 13 years ago, we had all three boys together and going places. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'll miss that. You know, do stuff with your kids. Enjoy each other. Um, find time. Husband and wives should find time to be alone together. Do things that are fun, that you enjoy. It's different for everybody else. Something that we like to do is go to a easy restaurant and go to the bookstore and the coffee shop. That's a
Mm-hmm.
fun day. It might be different for you. Go on walks in the park in the morning. Go to the coffee shop. Go fishing. Go camping. Whatever you like to do. Do it. Do it together. Plan weekend getaways. We've already got weekend getaway planned for the weekend after Thanksgiving. That's our normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
Plan that stuff. Plan that. Look forward to it. Find that special place you and your spouse love to go and make plans to get away. Enjoy each other every day. You ain't gotta say, well, we'll have a good time here 2 months from now, but until then, we'll just
The
be
suffer.
miserable. Yep. Um, if the situation permits, I know. Look, I've been there. I've been in the Air Force, and I worked them crazy night shifts to where, like right now, it's almost 8 o'clock at night. There have been times I'd be working, and she'd be home with the boys, and I get home at midnight, and then the 1 or 2 days where I'm not working, and it's the only time we get to see each other. I understand. I've been there, and every situation is different. So you might say, What you're telling me I can't do? You can, maybe not every day. If your situation permits, wake up and start the day together. Whatever time you have in passing, make sure that you make contact, that you spend that time for each other. It might be 2 minutes. Spend time with each other. Stop what you're doing every day and spend some quality time together. Lori and I, when we first came back from our first marriage conference, we were really excited about making things right, fixing our foundation. And we don't do those things to the same extent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you might say, well, what happened? Well, we kind of evolved. We
Mm-hmm.
evolved from that. We don't need the marriage devotionals anymore because we're living out that stuff. The stuff that we learned in the marriage devotionals last year, now we're living it. Now it's become practicality for us. So uh, now, when we do still sit and we'll read a little book. We'll talk about what we're reading or read the Bible or something and talk about things. But now we've been sitting down at night and watching favorite TV shows.
Mm-hmm.
And a few months ago, we like, you know what? Let's check out that X Files show from the 90s. I've been wanting to check that out. It's been a long time. So we literally sit down for about an hour or two every night and watch the X Files together. You might think the X Files, yep, Mulder and Scully. That's what we watch. Yep. So that's our time of enjoying each other every day. Last but not least, go to bed together every night. And like I said, I know, every situation is different. Your wife might go to bed, and the husband might come home at midnight, or like I work the midnight shift, where I go to work at midnight and I get home at 8 in the morning, and when I get home, she's already gone to work. So we don't see each other much at all. But take the every opportunity you can. That one night or 2 nights that you have together, go to bed at the same time. Um, be intimate with each other. Enjoy the gift of sexual intimacy that God created for the husband and wife and the bonds of marriage. Like I said, I know every situation in marriage is different, and you may not have every night to build it up, and you can't go to bed every night. But if you know, Friday night's the night that I'm not working the midnight shift, and that's the night. You know, you have to be intentional because if you don't, what's going to happen?
Ain't gonna happen.
And it ain't going to happen, and you're going to be miserable, and your marriage is going to suffer. You got to make time for each other, even if it's just once a week. If that's the only time you have, make time for each other. I've been there, and look, you might say, "Well, that's easy for you to say." You don't know. I do know. I've been there. We've been there. I've been away in Afghanistan 6 months at a time. I
Mm.
come back, we make the best of the time.
Comes
Make the
back
best
and then
time.
he works the crazy shifts.
Yeah. Yep.
Did all that.
Yep. If you um if you're only together 2 nights a week, be intentional for showing interest in each other those 2 nights. Make the best of time you have together. There is no perfect marriage. But if you use these little small tips that we've given you in this video, you can strive towards a better marriage, an enjoyable marriage, a good marriage. Fix your foundation. Enjoy each other. Build that trust and honesty. Communicate with each other and respect each other. Make the best time you have together. Um, you have any other thing to say? Anything to add?
No.
Okay, so hey, we're glad to have you follow us and watch our videos and we're close to 17 1700. I think last time I checked we got 1,750 followers.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're getting there, and we're thankful for all you who follow us and subscribe to us, and we're gonna take a week off. So in a couple of weeks, we're gonna do another blended family. I got to work on it. So God bless you and thank you, and see you later.